So I've been a mom, in essence, the majority of my life. No joke. Wow, I think that's the first time I've actually said that out loud. And, that's a little interesting. Hey there, my loves. Welcome back to my channel and CPTV, the place for aspiring and growing entrepreneurs who want to turn their passions into businesses and their businesses into freedom. If that sounds like you, then this is the place you're going to want to be. You're going to want to subscribe because I am dropping golden nuggets every Tuesday and every Friday where I'm giving you the actionable steps, the tips, the tools, and the how-to strategies to take your business goals and entrepreneurial goals to that next level and turn them into 6- and 7-figure empires. Welcome. I am CP and I am excited to talk to you guys today because I am going to talk about my 6 kids.
Holy Mary, Mother of God.
Yeah, that's right. I said 6.
Are you crazy?
Don't judge me.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Don't judge me. But if you are, or you have that look on your face right now, then I totally get it. I mean, I have gotten that response for over 20 years, right, in my entrepreneurial journey. And it's actually one of the biggest questions that I get most often from people, because I don't necessarily think that people are actually judging the amount of kids that I actually have. I think that they're thinking to themselves, how is it possible for her to have that many kids and run some businesses and be an entrepreneur? And all of those things would naturally bring you to that look like that I'm sure you're probably still sitting there with. So today, I'm actually going to open up and share with you the answer to that question. How, right? How I was able to do it. How I have been able to make it as an entrepreneur for the last 20 years and being a mom. And ultimately being the best mom that I can be. Because if you are sitting there as a woman, as a mom, and as an entrepreneur, wondering if you're going to be able to do it and feeling all kinds of things, then hopefully today's episode will help you get on the other side of recognizing that you can be a mom and a SHEBOSS all in one. So first of all, I have to introduce you all to my babies. I have 3 boys, Amari, Cameron, and Christian, and I've got 3 girls, Jessica, Kelly, and Nia. And I also have 2 fur babies, Titan and Tiana. They're actually my favorites. Don't tell the other kids because they might be a little offended, but yeah, my fur babies are probably my favorites. They don't talk back. They run to the door when I get home. They care that I'm actually there. They're so appreciative when I feed them, you know, just all those things that fur babies are. So actually I'm a mom of 8, but those are my beautiful kids. And they actually age, their range in ages, believe it or not, is 29 to 11. Yes, because my 10-year-old just turned 11. So I'm still getting used to saying 11 and not 10. But 29 to 11. So I'm going to go in order. I got 20, 29, 28, 21, 20, 14, getting ready to turn 15, literally in like a sneeze. And I've got an 11-year-old who just literally turned 11. So I've got the gamut of age ranges as well. And I'm not even close to being done. I get that a lot too. People are always like, girl, you still got, 7 years before your youngest is gone. I'm here to clarify. They're not gone even then. Okay? So 18 don't mean nothing. We haven't had one child that don't go away to college, fulfill all their educational journeys and goals, and then they come back home. Yes, that's what they do, y'all. They come back home. So 18 ain't the end. And so I've been a mom, in essence, the majority of my life. No joke. Wow, I think that's the first time I've actually said that out loud. And, that's a little interesting. But in any case, I started my entrepreneurial journey, at least my full-time entrepreneurial journey, not when I was doing things as a side hustle, when my oldest was 13 and my 2 youngest weren't even born yet. So I even had children while I was an entrepreneur. And I have seen and felt it all. the exhaustion, the guilt. I've heard the mom shaming comments from other women. I've heard the mom shaming comments from people who love me, and they're just an older generation, and they're just not used to the type of woman that I am. And I've heard and felt it all. But I've also been told by my kids how much of an inspiration I am to them, how much confidence I give them, how inspiring and motivating I am for them. And so that, in essence, really does keep me focused. And how much I've taught them about work ethic and controlling their own destiny and all of those things. So while I've felt and heard all of those bad or negatives that I just kind of mentioned, it really does take some very specific strategies to stay focused on the good stuff that I just mentioned and the positive stuff. So now let me share with you really what I do and what I recommend that you do if you are out there and you are a mom and you are trying to manage being a mom and a SHEBOSS, what you really can do and some of the things that I've employed over the last 20 years to really give me my mom SHEBOSS title that I so much embrace. So how do I do it? Well, the first thing that I do is, and I recommend this to all of you out there, I communicate frequently and openly with my children at all times. And I've done it at every stage of my business and entrepreneurial journey. I did it in the very beginning when I was first thinking about starting a business, and I had talked to my husband about the business, and he was like, yes, let's go for it. I knew he wasn't the only person I needed to talk to about it. So I had to sit my kids down at that time and really explain what was going to be happening, because I wasn't going to be in a traditional job. I wasn't going to be in a traditional role. They weren't going to see me go to work at 9 and come home every day at 5. I knew it was going to be a grind. And so I needed to kind of prepare them for it. And the grind and the real grind of my career, when I was really building and I was my solopreneur and I was doing everything by myself, I had to explain to them why I was working so much and why even when I was at home, I would work even after I came home after 12 hours, I would work for another 4 hours. And I needed them to understand what that meant. I also communicated with them as my schedule began to change and there became more travel involved or different opportunities or different client needs. And I communicated with them on all of that very clearly. And then also I communicated with them in advance on what the time management plan needed to be. And in order for them to ensure that I could participate in their lives and in their activities, I had to make sure that we had a time management game plan. So we began to institute some very specific things, like, for instance, when any of my children got a schedule for their basketball schedule or their football schedule, or my daughter's in dance, so a dance schedule, I get that schedule and they have been taught from a very early age how to use Google calendars, how to know that mom needs a couple weeks notice in order to really guarantee that I can block off my calendar and be there. So don't wait to the last minute, that give me the schedule in advance and I can put it in the Google calendar. For instance, like my 14-year-old, her dance calendar, I get it. My administrative assistant adds it to the calendar, invites her. So she manages her schedule through a Google calendar. So those time management things are also things that we have to do because they do understand that I work and I'm not a traditional employee somewhere. And so I have a lot of people counting on me and they have to understand and be okay with that. So communicating, I think, and being open about it and not just expecting them to deal with it has taught them that this is how I feel about my business, but you are a partner in this business journey with me, and you deserve to know what's going on and to be able to give me your feedback. And trust me, they communicate back. I mean, my kids have had over the years various interventions and various conversations with me about working too much, and I've had to actually take a step back and make some adjustments. So keeping those lines of communication has really been key in helping me to be a SHEBOSS, but also a great mom. The number 2 thing that I would have to say, and this is a biggie, is I had to learn how to ignore and eliminate that guilt. Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. It's that guilt, I don't even know really where it comes from. I don't think that the guilt was pushed onto me from anybody in particular. I mean, granted, I've heard mom shaming types of comments before. But I think it's just an internal thing that we sometimes feel and that we get when we are told and taught in society that we are supposed to be the primary caregivers and nurturers for our children. And if we're doing anything else outside of that, then we are less great moms. And that feeling, is significant. I remember when my babies were babies, and at the time, at one point, my husband was a stay-at-home dad, and he was at home and babies, and sometimes I would get a phone call with somebody had taken their first step, or somebody had finally eaten some bananas or something like that, and I was so excited and happy, but I would hang up the phone and I would just cry because I was actually putting on myself that guilt that I was supposed to be there when that happened. And I very quickly learned how to tell myself that that wasn't fair for me to believe. That wasn't fair for me to believe that about myself. And it also isn't fair for society to make me believe that, because if I were a man and I was calling home to talk to my wife who was at home with our child, and I had missed their first steps, or I had missed the first time that they ate some bananas, I wouldn't even be thinking about it differently, and nor would society make me believe that I was supposed to be thinking about it differently. And I think that that's unfair. I think that that is ridiculous and that's dumb. And I think that everybody needs to get their shit together on that, because I'm not going to feel guilty as long as my husband was there taking good care of them. One of us was there because we're a team, and he did a really good job at making me feel involved. So it was really my own self-talk that I had to learn how to develop over time, and really recognize that if I'm out here hustling, I can't be feeling guilty. I'm still a great mom. And what I do from a professional standpoint is just as meaningful and just as important to my kids' growth and development and success as everything else, as if I was at home. The number 3 thing that I think I do is I have learned to ask for help when I need it. As women, we put unreasonable expectations on ourselves all the time. We sometimes feel like we are supposed to do everything, that we're not supposed to ask for any help, especially when it comes from being maternal or being domestic. And if we are those things, and we do ask for help, then we're less of women in order to ask for help. I say bullshit to that. Girl, please. Okay? Girl, bye. Don't even let that continue to permeate your mind. You have to ask for help. I learned very early on that I had to ask for help, and I had an army of people helping me. From the very beginning with all of these children, at one point we had 2 nannies, one that would come during the day and one that was part-time to come in the evenings, because my business evolved and my responsibilities evolved, and I started having events at night, and I started, my schedule started extending, or I needed to work late, or I had client meetings or dinner meetings or whatever it was. And so I had to ask for help. I began to ask for help from my husband and my older children and my nannies, and from anybody who would really offer, and so I became, very, very comfortable with asking for help and understanding that there were just some things that I wasn't going to be able to do, but that didn't make me less of a mom when I asked for help for someone to actually help me do it. The number 4 thing that I think I do is I share the vision and the goals of my business or businesses with my children all the time. We talk about that lifestyle vision. We talk about the goals of the business. We talk about the fact that I ultimately have created different business entities and different business structures, and there might be one that I want them to take over, that I want to leave a legacy for them. So they are aware of why my business and being an entrepreneur is a priority for me. And they respect that. It's really no different than when they come to me with something that's extremely important to them and they share with me their vision. I respect that vision, and my job is to help them get to that vision. And so I think that my children, now that they know, they do everything that they can to help propel me in that direction. And they don't really try to stop me or derail me. They are extremely supportive of mom being an entrepreneur. And that's awesome. The number 5 thing that I've done is that I kind of make a schedule and I stick to it. So what that means is my children are used to certain things that I've ultimately kind of created over the years to help them. So a couple of things. There are just some things that they know mom will do. And there are some things that they know mom won't do. So for instance, my children know that I do dinner. I still take care of dinner for them and my husband. I am the dinner cooker. I am the plate fixer. That's just what I do. Even if I'm traveling, I prepare all of their meals in advance. So all they have to do is pop them in, because it's important to me for them to have home cooked meals and for them to recognize that I put my love into their meals, even if I can't be there sometimes. And so that's kind of a schedule that they're used to. That's a habit that they expect, and they've come to expect it over the years. Another thing is I don't really work from home. From the very beginning, they learned that if mom is at home, I'm theirs. And I may get there late and I may leave early, but I'm theirs. And so it's very, very difficult when I try to pull out my laptop and actually get some work done, because they are completely oblivious to the fact that that laptop is out. Right? Unless I'm in like my home office and I'm secluded. But usually I'm not working from home. If I'm at home and I'm doing anything, I'm doing some research or I'm catching up on something. So they know that if mom is home, she's ours. And that's how I've kind of trained them, and that's what they do. So I can't get mad at them for sticking to that schedule. The 6th thing that I do is actually I bring them to work, I bring them to my office, and I get them involved. Every single child has at some point been involved in the business, whether it's been helping with filing or paperwork or just to come in and make copies or help things get organized. Almost every single child that I've had has actually worked in the business at some point or another. And that's because I think that it's important for me for them to get to understand what I really do, what the business is like, and to kind of get their feet wet and to understand that when mom is at work and she can't answer your phone in the middle of the day, it could be because she's in a meeting. Because, I've had a couple of my children that have actually managed my calendar in the past. So they're like, oh my God, they get it. And so with that, getting them involved, bringing them to work, having them around, they begin to develop a certain level of understanding, tolerance, and empathy about what it all means. And so they never really feel slighted by my busyness or what I'm actually doing. They actually completely are able to answer their own questions and say, good job, mom. And the last thing that I do that I've actually gotten better with over the years and tried to master is knowing when to stop and focus on them. And I have to pay attention to that. And I work really, really hard even to this day to know when to stop. So like family vacations are really important to me. And that's really usually a time where we all go somewhere together and they know for a week that we are just focused on each other, or family nights or birthday dinners, or Christmas or holidays where everyone's around. I've learned to just embrace all of us being together, especially as my older children continue to get older and they start going off in their own relationships and doing their own things. It's more important now than ever before. So I've learned over the years how to balance it, and how to recognize that moment when I just need to stop and pay attention to them. Being a mom is something that when I was younger, I honestly used to say I never wanted to be. I used to tell my mom that I was going to have cats, that I was never having children. But obviously, once I started, I didn't really stop. And I really can tell you that now my children are my greatest accomplishments. They are my greatest source of motivation, and they are my greatest pieces of evidence of success. And they really are proud that I'm a SHEBOSS. And I've never really believed that I had to choose between being one or the other. I really resent the idea that we should ever have to choose being an entrepreneur versus being a mom. I don't believe that they are separated. I believe that you can be both. And that's ultimately the belief that I carry on in my life. And that really is what fuels how I'm able to get it done. So I guess it really all starts with your mindset, and maybe incorporating some of the tips and tools that we just talked about will help you get there. But ultimately, you can have it all as long as you got a strategy and a game plan, and the determination to talk the walk, to talk the talk, and walk the walk. So It's Fridays. It is time to get out of here. Go get some apps, some wine, enjoy your weekend. And until next time, my love, I will see you on Tuesday. Mwah!